Hello, my Taurus friends. This is Jill with the Healing Moon Tarot, and today we're going to do your November 2018 general reading. So last month, your oracle card was Infinite Blessings. So I'm always curious whether you're new or you've been with me for a while. If the oracle card, at least, I mean, all the cards, but the oracle card specifically, if that energy showed in your life at all. So, I would love to hear about any blessings that you were able to see in the month of October. Did your reading help you be mindful to look for them? And how did you experience those? So for this month, let's take this one here. Ideal course of action. Love this card. It's pretty cool. I think it's the lizard on her head that just, I don't know, there's something about this card that really grabs my attention. So going forward, in the month of November, this may be a month where you are able to focus in and be more mindful, direct in and setting intentions or deciding what path you're going to take, or have a much clearer idea of not only where you're going, but how you may get there. We're going to start by pulling some tarot for your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual space. I'm going to pull them all together and then talk about them just to save some time. And one more. Maybe two more. Okay, so for your mental space this month, we have Judgment coming out. What is your initial response to the word judgment? Did you think religion? Did you think of being judged by others? Did you think of judging others? Judging yourself? All of these can play a role in this card and what it may mean to you. The word judgment that's coming out in your mental space just may be showing up in your life. And you may be more aware of it, and it's something that you're taking conscious time to consider. What are your feelings about that word? How does, when you hear the word judgment, do you recoil like, oh, I hate being judged, or that kind of thing? Or I'm constantly judging myself. That's why I don't feel good, because I'm holding myself to unrealistic expectations or standards. Regardless of how this is playing in your world, it may be helpful to you this month to come to a clearer understanding of what that word means to you. Whether it be literally looking up a definition, listening to a speaker, whether it's a self-help guru, a religious leader, anyone that you relate to that talks about this kind of energy and what that may mean, and spend some time discovering more about your personal relationship with what that means. Then coming in your physical world is justice. Like, these two cards together, like, okay. Justice, what is right and wrong? What you give, you will receive, right? Like, there's this balance of the scales, this good and this bad, this light and this dark, whatever your relationship is to what is just and fair in your physical world. These two coming together really make me wonder, Taurus, if you are feeling like you're in the place to judge others or to serve justice to others. If that's the case, you may want to pull it back and spend a lot of time and consideration before jumping head first into those energies. Like, I'm going to make this right. I'm going to control the situation. No one else has a clear perspective. I know what's right and wrong. I can use my abilities to make the choices here, which may very well come to fruition, but that's not something I would take lightly. And I think in all, there are consequences to our actions, good, bad, indifferent, you know, there is. We put good into the world, we will receive good. We put nasty into the world, you're gonna receive some nasty. I've been on this earth. Tomorrow will be my first day of my 38th year. And I get it. I'm going to move my camera. It's bothering me that it doesn't look level. I get the feeling of wanting to be judge and jury. I now understand how that has negatively affected my life. I also have grown to understand more of what karma is, and seeing I will reap exactly what I sowed. What are my intentions? Where is this coming from within me? Do I just need to be right and I need to be good, so I have to prove someone else wrong or bad? Or am I willing to understand that every little action we take in life and all of our intentions will all comes together for a greater thing? So are you justifying bad behaviors because you're not seeing the consequences of them right now? That kind of stuff. This is some heavy energy starting out, Taurus, but it's energy I really enjoy talking about. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or want to talk more with me about those energies, I'd love to hear from you. But I think we're going to leave it at that for now, and we'll probably revisit some of that as we pull more cards. Your emotional space is coming out as the 8 of Coins. This person knows how to do the work, right? It can be a little monotonous, though. They're creating the same thing over and over and over again and trying to master their trade, right? But sometimes if you've ever worked one of those jobs, especially like anything in assembly or whatnot, you know it can become mindless sometimes. So in your emotional space, are you mindlessly just going through the motions to connect with people? Or are you diligently trying to create quality there? You can do the work all day long, but what are your intentions behind it? How are you connecting to that? Is it from a place of, I do this because I know it's good for me. I know it's good for the people I connect to. I know that relationships require work and effort. Or are you kind of just running on autopilot and not staying conscious and in the moment and deliberately creating healthy emotional relationships? If you feel things are monotonous, it's okay to change things up. It's okay to throw yourself a curveball once in a while and find ways to get passionate about the day-to-day again. So many of us get caught up in the day of social media. It's extremely easy to compare our everyday life to someone else's highlight reel, right? Your friends are not posting all the crap in their life. Well, some of them may be posting only the crap if that's how they see their life. But you also get inundated with, this family's on vacation, and this family's doing this awesome thing, and this family's having fun in this way, or this, you know, that kind of stuff. And you're going, and all I've done today is 4 loads of laundry, a load of dishes, clean the floors. I'm annoyed. Like, I'm doing my work, but man, I want to do some of that. do some of that. If you don't have the financial ability to go on a big fancy vacation, you can still find what about a vacation makes you feel good. The closeness, the cutoff, the being removed from your day-to-day. Remove yourself from your day-to-day locally and in an inexpensive way. Turn off the phones, turn off the stuff. Make your family explore life together in a way that creates some of the same memories and some of the same feelings, just not in such an extravagant way. If you get creative and you are purposeful in that, you can create the same kind of feelings, but in a smaller setting, if you will. And then you don't, you can look at that family's vacation and you're like, they ate some good food together. They went on an adventure together. There was just them, there wasn't work or anything else. How can I create that here? And going on a picnic and a walk or that kind of thing, we disconnected. We were removed from our home. We laughed together, or we did something we enjoyed together. Those kinds of things, you can still experience the same thing, just in a different way. So this coming out in your emotional space, that may be time to just ask yourself some questions. Do I feel like things are monotonous right now? And how can I change? Or appreciate yourself for, I've been putting in work. I've been very diligent to stay connected, to stay involved, to keep doing this. And I appreciate myself for that, because I appreciate the relationships and the emotional connections I have with others. Our spiritual space, we have the Knight of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. And I always hear the TV show in my head when I pull this card. But Knight of Cups. So again, this is an emotionally based card with the cups on it. And the Knights always, this card, the first word I think of when I see a Knight is willingness. They are people that have a willingness to engage, to be out there, to be involved, to be, on the front line, if you will. They're a movement card. They're on a horse. There's action in this card. The Cup card here, his horse does not seem like he's in a hurry, nor does the rider. They're kind of calm, cool, and collective. They're more go with the flow. So this may be you having a willingness to emotionally connect to your spiritual space this month. And regardless if you're religious or spiritual, all of us in some capacity have a relationship with our own unique being, right? We know that we are a special being on earth, in the universe. We are likely one of a kind. You know what I mean? And having a relationship with that and a willingness to appreciate it, a willingness to connect with it, a willingness to learn or evolve with that, is being represented with this card. So if you find that kind of feeling this month, show it some appreciation and allow it to have some more space and time. The Wheel of Fortune, this card is a complicated card sometimes to explain to people. And there's lots of definitions out there of this card and what it means and how to perceive it. I can see this card 10 different times and say 10 different things. With the Wheel of Fortune coming with the Knight of Cups, I like to think of taking the time, especially in our spirituality, to understand the patterns, the cyclical nature of life, this flow. There's good and bad and up and down and right and wrong, and there's just this ever-flowing, with this card I kind of see the universe, or at least, our part of it, with the planets revolving and their space and their time, and even though it's constantly moving, there's something very, we've been tracking the stars forever, as long as written history has been. There's accounts of people understanding how the sun and the planets and all this kind of works. And now we're to the point where we're sending missions to Mars and whatnot, but it's always been there. There's always been this knowledge that there's this revolution of cyclical events, and this star will be in this same spot again in X amount of time or X amount of years, and from this certain perspective. So what is your perspective on how the world turns and your relationship to it, especially in your spiritual space? How do you perceive what you know and how you feel about spirituality? What are you willing to accept, or what are you willing to not accept? Those kinds of things may come into play this month, and mixed in with the Knight of Cups, it might be an emotional thing of understanding this rhythm and understanding that, you know, this ball is going to keep on rolling. So how am I going to choose to relate to it? All right, Taurus, what we're going to do is move some cards out of the way and get started with the second part of our reading. The first card we're going to pull is our challenge for the month. And we have the Star card. So in tarot, the card that's prior to this in the deck is the Tower card. And if you're not familiar with tarot or the specific cards and their meanings, the Tower card is a card of kind of destruction, if you will, this tearing down of something. And it's not necessarily in a bad way, it may be uncomfortable, but to me, it's always like, okay, let's tear it down so we have a fresh foundation to start again. Like with remodeling a house, you have to demo a bunch of stuff out, get it down to the core so you can rebuild it the way you want, right? The Star card follows that card. And I always see the Star as that moment of being okay. Of, okay, things have fallen apart, things have, you know, been a mess, and I haven't felt like I had control over it or whatever, but there comes a point when of acceptance, and that in that point of acceptance, like immediately, there's typically this feeling of renewal, this feeling of regaining control or regaining composure. I'm getting that word pretty strongly of, okay, that happened. I've accepted it. I'm going to get my life together and I'm going to move from this moment on. That moment doesn't matter. I'm going to take what's left and I'm deciding right now that this is how I'm going to now continue. Right? So this coming out as a challenge, it may be hard for you to get back in this place of renewal, to get back in this place of, I just see like she's picked herself up off the ground from feeling defeated or crushed by life happening. Things just, okay, I didn't have any control over that. The crap fell apart. And her standing up and looking up to the heavens is the Star card. And being like, you know, I am made of the stardust. Everything that's in that star, that's making that star, makes me and makes everything around me. And there's this oneness, there's this, if you felt this feeling, which most of us have in some extent, but that, just that connectedness to the whole, connectedness to, this is my life. I can't change anything from the past, but I can refocus, reground, recommit going forward. And it's such a beautiful feeling if you can allow it to come in and settle in. And it may be a challenge. You may have some work to do to where you can get to this point where you can be like, that's done. and this is now my ideal course of action. This is my decision going forward. Let's pull, I think we need a strength card today, Taurus. Let's pull a strength card for you. You know what? I'm pulling that one. King of Swords. So as soon as I pulled this card, I thought about justice. These cards hold a lot of the same energy. Of course, they're both holding a sword. I'm getting some strong Libra type energy, Taurus. This is a Libra card here. And King of Swords, he's the King of Air. Again, I'm thinking some real Libra type, just, fair, logical, analytical. That may be why you're feeling this judgment and like you are the one that's going to bring justice to the world. You know what I mean? Like, savior complex just came into mind. If you think you're going to save someone or save something, with this coming here, I think this reinforces that you do have the ability, Taurus, to be logical, to be straightforward, to say what you mean and mean what you say, and to be very precise with the choices and the actions in your life. Again, just as a reminder to not try to do a job that's not yours, though. You're not. Are you the judge and jury? If you're literally a judge, then okay. What makes you the judge and jury over this? And are you, do you have enough information to actually play that role? And how are you going to play it? And don't be cruel is something that's coming to mind with this. Because when we get very logical and very straightforward, like I personally can be blatantly honest to a fault. Sometimes I can come across as harsh or critical or mean when I feel justified because it's true, but my truth and your truth may not be the same truth because we see things from another perspective. So sometimes I have to remind myself to be more considerate in my verbiage or considerate to the feelings associated with something, not just the logic associated with it. So that coming out in your strengths this month, I would take some time to think about what your relationship to those energies are and how you really can use it as a strength. Let's pull some cards for your need to know section. And we have two fives, the 5 of coin and the 5 of wands. The 5 of coins is a separation of classes to me. These are poor, desolate, down and out types with a church behind them with fancy stained glass and lights on, you know, two very separated worlds I usually see in this card. So if you are the person that's feeling desolate, that's feeling down and out, that feels like you've been wronged in some way, taken advantage of in some way, that life just, you can't catch a break in some way, I think it will be very important to you to lift up your head and to see what resources are around you. And that does not mean run off to ask every single person on the planet to help you because you're a mess. And you may not be a mess, but, you know, that's an extreme. We know those people that have created a mess in their life and then create a GoFundMe page and are like, okay, I can't do this, you need to help me. And that's how they live their whole life, with their hands out. I'm not telling you to put your hands out and constantly be like, help me, help me. However, your perspective, there may be help right there. You could literally be standing outside the window of an opportunity that can help you not feel so beat down. You could have an opportunity for a new job or a new project, a new something that can really help you, benefit you. But if you're not willing to see it, it can never happen. So what is your perspective on your situation? In this card, I like to remind people to have an attitude of gratitude. Even though these people seem down and out and pushed out into the cold, they're alive, they're still people. So if you are feeling that way, one of the easiest ways to help switch your perspective is to immerse yourself in an attitude of gratitude, whether writing a journal, taking 5-10 minutes a day and just listing off things that you're grateful for in every situation as many times a day, or even setting reminders on your phone that say be grateful right now, and you can stop and take literally 3 seconds to think something that you're grateful for right that moment. If you do this multiple times a day and you get in the habit of it, you become more likely to see the good in every situation, to see opportunities that are coming your way because you feel allowed to see them, if that makes sense. Like, it opens you up to accepting the awesome stuff that surrounds us every day. The 5 of Wands, this is my practice card. I see this card a lot lately. I don't know what the deal is, but this card is conflict. They look like they're beating the crap out of each other. But just like in any martial arts, you have to get beat up to get good at it. This comes into all aspects of our lives. The challenging situations, the uncomfortable situations are what breed new ideas, new ways of doing things, an inventive kind of creative spaces for us, because we don't want to keep getting our butt kicked. So in order to not get our butt kicked anymore, we have to grow and progress and change and get better, right? And it's all about perspective. We can either be like, yep, we're beat up, we're beat down, we're kicked out, we're blah, 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 blah. Or we can say, these are opportunities for me to learn and grow. And if you take every single person that you have a conflict with and approach them like, you're going to teach me something today. You're going to help me grow. You're going to help me learn. You're going to help me be a better person, even though this is uncomfortable, even though I don't like it, even though this makes me angry or sad or hurt or whatever. You're my teacher right now, and I'm going to learn from you. Conflicts become much easier to deal with when we take that approach, because we're like, okay, give me what you got. Let me hear it. Let me deal with this, because I know when this is done, I am going to be better for it. So these two coming together in your need to know, I think it's important to know your perspective and know your attitude with dealing with these kinds of situations, and how can I take any of this misfortune, take any of this uncomfortability, take any of these conflicts or problems, and I'm going to own them, and I'm going to look for teachable moments. I'm going to look for ways that I can connect and be refreshed, renewed, and have a clearer idea of where I'm going. We're going to end with a couple suggestion cards. Well, we'll see how many comes out, but suggestion card here. I think this is a great place to end. I feel like I've been a little hard on you, Taurus. I would apologize, but I'm not sorry, not sorry. This is the Six of Wands, and this card is all about celebrating yourself. Let me see if I can find it in this deck real quick, because I want you to see the imagery. Yeah, not quick at all. Okay, there we go. I think the imagery in this card speaks volumes. He's on a horse. He looks very prestigious. There's people here, like they are celebrating him. It's like he's in a parade. Here I am. I did this thing. I accomplished this. That person obviously feels good. The people around him feel good and giving him praise. So this coming out in your suggestion card is appreciate yourself. I don't care if the only thing you did today was get out of bed. Say, I'm glad I got out of bed today. I got out of bed today and I'm glad that I did. Appreciate your life. Even if you're out in the cold or you're getting beat up or stuff fell apart and you're left picking up pieces, appreciate all that you do. Appreciate the time, your effort, your energies, your thoughts, your feelings, your life. Celebrate you. You are the only you, period. You're the only person that's experienced life from your unique perspective. And you're the only person that has control over your perspective of life. You have control over how you see and perceive and interact with every aspect of who you are. Celebrate that you've made it this far. Celebrate that you're okay. You're living and breathing and you're doing it. You've put in work and you're learning and you're growing every day. And the more you celebrate those little things and bring that kind of feeling into your life, the more you'll recognize it and you'll feel better about who you are, the choices you're making, and how you're living. So I think this is an amazing card to come out last. I think this is telling you everything's okay. You're okay. You're going to get what you give, so choose how you give it. There will be justice. There is karma. Things have a way of working out like that. And you just have to trust it and to be able to see it from that perspective. Things may not meet your expectations or whatever A, B, and C, and D that I've decided have to happen in specific ways, or I can't be happy. That's not likely going to work out. But in big picture, understanding that the energy you put in will be returned to you and appreciating yourself for doing that, for being conscious about it and taking that effort, can lead to glory in yourself. So Taurus, this was a really fun reading to do. If you resonate with it in any way, shape, or form, or enjoyed my style of reading, I would love a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or just want to share a little, you can comment down below or hit me up on one of my social medias to direct message me. I love to hear from people. I get excited to talk to people about this stuff. So please reach out to me if you're feeling inclined in any way. And I hope you have an amazing month. We'll see you soon. Bye, Taurus.